You know the feeling when your mate's golf ball flies past yours? Or when you're on the green in regulation, but he holds it from the bunker? At Drummond Golf, we get it. That's why we have our lowest price guarantee. As Australia's biggest, you can count on our massive buying power for the lowest prices in golf. But if you do happen to find a lower advertised price, we'll beat it. The Drummond Golf lowest price guarantee. Unbeatable. Conditions apply.
I've never seen anything like it before, and to attempt to hit the ball out of there is pure madness.
The winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Cameron Smith.
This is the one that I've always wanted to win since I was a little kid. So it just feels pretty amazing to be able to get it done today.
It's amazing that it's my destiny to be the first Aussie to win. Just incredible.
Hello and welcome to episode 56 of the Playing from the Tips podcast, Golf Australia Magazine's preview and tipping show that, much like one of our so-called experts, travels to every corner of the globe in search of professional golf. My name is Jimmy Emanuel and I have the privilege of hosting that journey this week as I beam in from the Ladies European Tour's next stop while our other well-travelled tipster returns. Firstly, we welcome Mr. Consistent in presence, tips, and also school attendance, which he benefits from being in a remote school today, so we're slightly later than normal. That is, of course, Rod Morrie. Rod, does that mean you have a special little lunch given you at home?
Yes, I get to make my own. I'm a digital native, Jimmy. This online learning's caper, it's
digital
interesting.
native?
Yeah, digital native, yeah. Yeah, I hadn't heard the term.
More of a expat, I think.
You're checking out, you reckon? Yes, online school today because the teacher's not very well. She can't drive, but there's the you just turn the switch and do it online instead. So that'll be interesting. Did it last week too. It actually worked quite well.
How good. And next we have back in town and getting to have his say on the new Who Would Load Tip segment and find out where in the world he has been. We, of course, speak of Adrian Logue. Logue, welcome back.
Thanks, Jimmy. It's good to be back.
And your thoughts on the segment that Rod and I came up with?
It's okay. I want more agency over my picks, so that's what I'm seeking to do this week is to actually own my picks rather than have you jokers pick them for me.
We tipped a winner for you.
It's all right, but maybe I would have tipped 2 or 3 winners. Who knows? We'll never know.
We will never know. You didn't tip a winner last week in Who Would Logue Tip, so that makes sense. This is, of course, the time of the show when we look back at last week and get so-called expert opinions, highlights, lowlights, everything like that. Did anybody have anything that stood out, good or bad?
You first.
Well, Nelly Korda, I guess. It's good to see a return of form. I'm puzzled at how she's still world number one, or how she's returned to world number one, though, because she doesn't really seem to have done
It's
a
a
lot
mathematical calculation. You can probably look it up. They can tell you how they do it.
I think they should review the algorithms.
Are you in the camp that says, it's really a popularity contest? You can only be the world number one if you've won a certain amount of majors, or you're certainly this popular on TV?
I'm not sure. The OWGR has just made a mockery of itself this last couple of years anyway, hasn't it?
I think that's a harsh assessment. Okay.
But anyway, it was still a highlight. I enjoyed seeing Nelly win. And Gabby Ruffles in contention as well was quite good. Yeah. And Abby Barnrat as well in contention was good. You're probably going to mention that, Jimmy.
David Micheluzzi being in contention, showing, he's going to go well overseas. But I was definitely going to mention Abby Barnrat because everyone wants to mention Kiradek every time he plays well.
Yeah.
Rod, any highlights?
I was kind of with Logan. It was always love watching Nelly Korda play golf when she's playing well, but I thought Gabby Ruffles was really impressive. In fact, little heads up, I'm going to tip her for the LPGA this week. She's going to win something. She's got
spoilers.
She's got it.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I thought
okay.
That was off.
Before we move off last week, the final piece of business is our results. We managed 5 top 10s, and Logue, I had 3 out of 3 tournaments. You had, I think, 1. So, lift your game.
It's almost like sabotage.
Which takes our total to 49 top 10s for the year and 7 wins, numbers that, once again, cannot be beaten by any other podcast tipping show produced by a golf magazine in Australia.
From a Sydney-based studio.
No, you see, you add that, and that makes it seem like it's not much of an achievement.
That's right.
I don't like how you add this every single time.
Indeed. I've got to tell you, we're playing a hectic schedule, aren't we? 49 top 10s by March. We're playing a lot of golf.
We are playing a lot of golf. Well, that's why we don't keep the tournament numbers, because I can't do that kind of maths. But anyway, we're moving right along, and we're going to go to the United States first, and what was once its own independent nation for the Texas Children's Hospital Open. And Rod, you're going to tell us all about it.
Well, Jimmy, you've opened the history can of worms here, so let's dive in. Houston Open, Texas Children's Houston Opens, Texas Children's being a hospital. So I went and had a look at the Texas Children's. It's obviously a very impressive facility, but here's what grabbed my attention being a Seinfeld fan. This is where the real Bubble Boy was born.
Okay.
In 1971. He lived till the age of 12. David Vedder was his name. So, so it's in fact one of the leading research centres into, I think the condition is called SCID, that he had, that lack of an immune system. And they've kind of almost sold it on the back of it. There you go.
I think it's a moot point.
Sorry?
It's a moot point.
Why?
Isn't that the joke from Seinfeld?
Moops.
No, it's Moors.
No, it's Moops. It's right here on the card. Anyway, enough of that. From a golf perspective, interesting golf course, Memorial Park, been played here for the last couple of years. This is the one that Tom Doak did in conjunction with Brooks Koepka, specifically to host this tournament. It's a public golf course, which is fantastic. It's one of 5 that's operated by the Houston Parks and Recreation Department, but it only does 60,000 rounds a year, so Clover Moore would be looking to close it down immediately, obviously, because that's nowhere near enough golf for a course to be considered a success. It did host this tournament, this course, from 51 to 63, had winners including Arnold Palmer, came back in 2019. As I said, Tom Doak, Brooks Koepka designed the course specifically for the event. It's only 19 bunkers on the course. What do you reckon? Would there be another PGA Tour venue with even close to that few? And 3 of those are on the 18th hole.
That's bold.
That's really bold, isn't it? Lots of short grass around the greens. In fact, it's been the case the last couple of weeks, Jimmy. The venue itself might be the star of the show this week. It's going to be one of the more interesting things to watch, the players taking on the course. Lots of short grass around the greens and that sort of thing. So
little subtle slopes and feeders.
Yeah, it's that Doak sort of thing, you know.
It's almost like it's not all out there in front of them.
It's not all out there in front of them. Particular interest will be the par 4 13th, which is drivable, but mostly the par 3 15th, which is just a really severe short par 3. Plays as short as 100 metres for these guys and still throws up double and triple bogeys. If you miss the green, you're in big trouble. So it's that kind of thing. If you're wondering how far players hit the ball these days, the first is a 470 metre par 4. I don't care if it's downhill, downwind. 400, it's a par 5 for the members, obviously, at 522 yards, or for the people who play it there. 470 metre par 4. It's unimaginable, isn't it? Who can cover 470 metres in 2 shots? Not many. So that's just a little interesting thing there. Tony Finau was the last person to win this. It wasn't played last year because they went to the calendar year schedule, and that mucked it up. So it got missed last year. So it was last played in 2022. Tony Finau defending. However, he's going to have to do pretty well to get there this year. Scheffler's in the field, aiming for 3 in a row. It was done in 2017. It's pretty rare. 3 tournaments in a row is fairly impressive. Just to have the chance to win 3 in a row is an impressive performance. He also holds the course record here. So finished tied second a couple of years back. So home state, you would think he'll be motivated, et cetera, et cetera. Wyndham Clark's also back, so we might see a replay of the Sawgrass finish that we had there with Scheffler and Wyndham Clark, which was best golf of the year so far, I thought, in men's golf for sure. Other high-profile names, Heath Thegala, Zalatoris is back. He missed the cut at Sawgrass. Jason Day's in the field. So it won't be on most people's minds, but this is also the last event to get into the World Top 50. The cutoff is after this week for Top 50 to get into the Masters. There may or may not be movement there. So Australians in the field, Aaron Baddeley, Jason Day.
And also a winner's spot gets into the Masters as well.
Yes, of course.
I think this is the,
Which, remember, Matt Jones, I think, pulled that off in 2014?
He sure did.
Yeah.
Yep, hold a bunker shot at whatever that golf course he used to play.
Yeah, that was the Shell here. Do I recall, what do you reckon his accommodation cost for the week, booking on Sunday night for a week in Augusta, Georgia, having not previously had You're just open to be reamed there, aren't you? It's like, well, normally it's 10,000, but for this week it'll be 100. Aaron Baddeley, Jason Day, Harrison Endicott, Cam Davis, adopted Australian Ryan Fox are the Australians or the Antipodeans in the field. I'm going to go with Scheffler. He's got to be the man to beat. Home state.
Bold pick.
Not kind of, but not. Bold, I thought it would have been bold to pick him last week, but anyway. The greens being a bit funky might actually help him here too. because the other players will struggle. But you're going to see less hot putts hold probably this week than we often see on tour because of the nature of the greens, and that will probably play in his favour. Although he putted like a demon at Sora, so maybe that's a thing of the past.
Logue, a thought from you?
It's very hard to go past Scheffler or Wyndham Clark for that matter. But I am, because that's the sort of thing that the PGA Tour has been throwing up this year, is some surprise winners. And so I looked for a player who's missed his last 2 cuts, and that is...
As you do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's Beau Hustler. Because I think this is going to be one of those situations where everyone says afterwards, it's like, oh, what a weird game golf is. He's missed his last 2 cuts, and now he's stared down Scott Scheffler and Wyndham Clark.
And have his name changed.
Form players.
And have his name.
Yeah. Hostler.
And go from Beau Hustler to Beau Hustler. Sorry. It's a better name.
I'm going with Hustler.
I'll go with Hustler too. Yeah, Beau, get on board, mate. There's marketing dollars in this. Beau Hustler at golf. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Officially now that's his name on this podcast.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Well, I'm going to go with Jason Day, pronounced the traditional way, because Australians play very well in Texas. Jason's been playing some good golf. It all seems like it's sort of shaping that way. So why not? Next, we are going to jump because a National Open deserves some prominence. So why don't we throw up to a National Open next? Logue, we're going to go to you and the Hero Indian Open. Tell us all about Hero motorcycles first.
Well, this is one of the highlights of the year, the Hero Indian Open.
Oh, it's no Bangladeshi Open. Take it easy.
I don't know. This is the Bangladeshi Open isn't played at the DLF Golf and Country Club.
That is true.
Which is the real star, let's face it. Hero Motorcorp is, we're well established now. I think Hero, in fact, is sort of like the Hoover of motorbikes in certain parts of the world. Like if you say, I'm going to jump on my Hero, like it's the same sort of thing as I'm going to Hoover the carpet or something like that. So it's so synonymous with two-wheeled transport in some parts of the world. That
jump on my Hero sounds like I'm going to attack Ewan Porter, given he's my hero. So, yeah.
Okay. I just can't get enough of DLF. Well, I can get enough. One week.
one week
here is enough.
But you need that week, don't you?
For the visual feast of DLF Golf and Country Club. The titular DLF, I've mentioned this last year, but the titular DLF is the initials of India's biggest property developer, Delhi Land and Finance. And they're the driving force behind the DLF city in Gurgaon, which I'm definitely pronouncing correctly. It's a Gary Player design. I actually think these weird bunker faces, they're called geotextile bunkers, are a good thing. They're a good thing for golf. And this is the takeaway that I think we should have, is that they're a very sustainable way to have this bunker face maintained without sod. They'll look sort of, they're very man-made. The whole aesthetic of this course obviously leans into the man-made vibe, and these bunkers are no different. But they sort of stay in place, and that's okay. I think a lot of people want that, and compare it to the maintenance that is involved in even a sandbelt course to maintain that sandbelt look. This is just a different aesthetic that requires a lot less maintenance, and I think there's something good about that. There's a massive artificial quarry in this course as well, which led to one of the great quotes. There's a huge amount of rocks exposed on the 17th hole. And Eddie Pepperell famously said, the great thing about the 17th hole in India is that it has 15,000 rocks and 15 fans. Most great 17th holes have 15 rocks and 15,000 fans. So Australians in the field, John Lyris, Dan Lawson, Elvis Smiley, Tom Powell-Horan, Andrew Martin, Dave Micheluzzi, and Hayden Barron. Some notables. There's a Højgaard. It's Rasmus, I think. Yannick Paul is playing, and Kazuma Kobori as well. So a lot of Indian players headlined by Anirban Lahiri, but my pick is fellow Adrian Otaegi, who I guess in keeping with my Beau Hustler pick, he's had a top 10 in Kenya but hasn't shown us anything else this year.
He's a lock.
Which is exactly why I'm picking.
He's the lock to win.
Yeah.
Give him the trophy.
That's it.
Yeah. There's two things that can never be. He's had a bad run and Logue's tipped him.
Yeah.
He's guaranteed to get home.
Yeah. I will note Ewan Ferguson's in the field as well. But
Just so he knows that you know.
So he knows,
Is that
that's
what
right.
I've got my
He knows that you're ignoring him.
exactly. I've just passed him over.
If you ever visit Australia, Ewan,
Rod.
I will bring Logue out to the course so you can meet him.
Rod, a tip from you?
Let me scroll down. Where did I go? Shibanka Sharma, Indian Open. He played well last week. Shibanka Sharma. He's a good player. He's been off the radar for a couple of. Every golf has a bit of a struggle. I don't know whether it's been a slump or not, but he is a very good player. And at his national Open, having played well last week, why not?
I actually played my first golf course with those geo, whatever they're called, bunker faces in South
Geotextile.
Africa.
Yep.
And I was fascinated. Yeah, I was knocking on it with a wedge. I was looking. It blew my mind. So not hard to do.
Was it a Gary Player course as well?
Yeah. It was a Gary Player course.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's a noted geotextile user.
Let me guess.
Absolutely.
He's got shares in a geotextile company, Gary Player.
Ooh,
Had a guess.
could be. It's
What
tarnished.
do they feel like?
Tarnish the whole thing.
What are they feeling like, and is it any weirder to play with? Because they look weird. That's the thing about it.
I didn't see a ball particularly go into them and bounce or anything like that, but to hit them, they're like very solid things. So if you bladed one into it, I imagine it would come back with a bit of interest. But from a distance, they look like grass sod bunkers. Really, up close, it looks funky. It looks like dried chocolate soft serve ice cream.
Okay.
There you go.
It stands out on this one. Is it the 17th hole at Delhi where they've got the bunker face that must be 15 feet high? And it's just so obviously different and unusual. I don't recall ever noting it on any of the other bunkers on the course going, oh, that looks odd. But as soon as you see that one, it's like, whoa, what is that?
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Yeah. For what it's worth, I'm going to tip Dave Micheluzzi because something like a different golf course is exactly the kind of thing where he'd just bob up and go close again.
That's true,
So
actually. Yeah, good call.
why not?
Yeah, good call.
At Drummond Golf, we understand your passion.
Nice roll.
And that's because every Drummond Golf store is owned and run by a local who loves the game as much as you do.
Yeah, it's come off the face really well.
Someone who knows where you play and what you need.
Oh yeah, looking good.
With Australia's biggest range and expert knowledge.
Great. Now let's try that putter with this grip.
So if you want to improve your game, see a local expert at Drummond Golf.
It is always special when an overseas tour visits Australia, and that's the case this week and next week. Ladies European Tour are in town to co-sanction with the WPGA Tour of Australasia for the Women's New South Wales Open at Magenta Shores Golf and Country Club this week, where I find myself. It is a Ross Watson designed layout on the Central Coast of New South Wales. First real taste of big tournament golf this week. It's had pro-ams. It's had an Aussie mid-amateur where a friend was telling me about the 12. They made up the 18th yesterday, but it's sort of its first big time sort of go. But for those familiar with the golf course, Logue, I know you will be, they've actually flipped the nines. I'm yet to find out why, but we've got flip nines. So
that ninth.
I was confused with rival, but there you go.
Ninth hole is a finishing
The ninth's
hole.
really...
It feels a little bland.
Yeah,
for a
really
finishing hole,
unremarkable.
Whereas 18 creates, I suppose,
18...
a lot of housing around
It's a
18.
housing estate.
Yeah, a lot of housing.
Yeah.
It may not be anywhere.
There's going to be a lot
crowd.
more ability to get people around the ninth, which is, of course, an uphill back tee 440, par 4 for men, par 5 for women. So the green at 9 has like a little sort of funnely type deal, so you could get a bit of excitement, bit of Daniel Gale at the national stuff. So
nice amphitheatre
maybe.
actually around the ninth, Jimmy. Like that'd be an excellent hill for people to sit on should they want to, spectators and whatnot. So yeah, I sort of see the sense of that. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, a bit of sandy waste, and it is technically almost links land here, links the ocean and the land, and used to be a rubbish tip, but I think in all honesty, I think it might be Ross Watson's best work. This golf course. I quite enjoy it.
It's his magnum opus.
Yeah, I'd go along with that for sure.
Number 32 in the country, according to Golf Australia magazine, and this week welcomes the like of friend of not this show, but one of our other shows. Meg McLaren is in town. I saw Meg last night when she arrived. World number 6, Anne Van Dam, top ranked player, winner of the Athena, Kelsey Bennett, Bronte. I knew. Hang on. Okay, have your moment. Go.
Well, don't back it. I mean, she's going to she's got that left action going, and it's like not going to suit her where there's a very penal golf course.
I am going to find a way to fund Ewan Ferguson and Anne Van Dam to fly to Sydney, and I'm going to put you in front of two of them and see how you go.
Have to answer to them.
She's about 6 foot tall, Anne Van Dam. I saw her at Bonneville a couple of years ago.
I'm about to go do some work with all the tournament staff here, and I'm just going to go inquire about a pro-am spot for one A Loeb with one A Van Dam this Thursday. So the other players of note, Bronte Law, Clara Spilkova, Kirsten Rudgley, Kiara Noja, who we've all become familiar with her golf swing. 54-hole event, starts Friday. It's a big fortnight, as I mentioned, because Australian Women's Classic Bonneville follows. So there's a very strong field in town after there's been regional open qualifying events for the first time for the women, which have been at Narrabri, Bathurst, Duntry League and Dubbo. Rod, your favourite venue for this event. So it's all quite exciting this week, I must say. It's very fun to be here.
Full marks to Golf New South Wales for the regional qualifiers, by the way, Jimmy. That gave a bit of it. Didn't make front page news anywhere, but what a fabulous series of events for the players. It would have been amazing.
There's a little bit of money on offer at them.
Absolutely. Good on them for the initiative to do that. And they do a lot of that in regional New South Wales. They work with the New South Wales government and take events to regional parts of the state that A, don't get much big-time sport, and B, need the injection of funds. You bring a 150-player field to a town like Dubbo or Narrabri for a golf tournament. It's 150 people, and all the associated. It's a fabulous initiative. Good on them. They're to be congratulated.
I agree. And it brings Mark Hayes to the country. So,
Ricky Bush will be out there this week, won't he, Jimmy? I imagine. At Magenta.
Pardon me?
Ricky Bush will be out there at Magenta. Speaking of regional golf coverage in New South Wales.
Between Ricky, who'll know the best pub in town, and Hazy, who'll know the best pie shop, you are in for quite the treat this week, Jimmy. What a shame you're a non-drinking vegan.
Well, I do drink.
I know.
Just without question. And I'm rooming with Jimmy Nichols this week, so I'm in for an even better week. So it's all happening for me.
Is he big Jimmy, your little Jimmy? Is that how that works?
He's Jimmy Senior. Jimmy's Jimmy Junior.
Jimmy Junior. Okay, Jimmy Junior.
Yeah.
Sounds like a song.
All right, let's get some tips and move along. I'm going to tip first. I'm going to tip the defending champion, Momoka Kabori, because if your surname's Kabori, you win in Australia.
That's what happens. Good call. Good call. I'm not sure we're far enough north for Meg McLaren. It'll be an interesting test. She generally wins once you get up around Coffs Harbour there. She likes to knock off the titles up around there, whether she's far enough north or not. I'm going to go with Lydia Hall because it'll be a lovely story. She qualified in one of the regions all the way from Wales to, was it Narrabri that she got through? Like,
no, Katja Pogacar won in Narrabri. I think Lydia Hall might have won at Bathurst.
Maybe. It's a long way from Wales, no matter what. She has really earned her spot in the field, and it would be like, because she's had some hard times too, Lydia. She's written about it quite movingly in the past. She had some mental health issues and whatnot, and sort of thought about giving the game away. So it'd be lovely to see her have one. She's clearly a good player. Who knows?
Absolutely.
Go, Lydia.
Logue?
It's a hard one because the LET, I don't think, has had many events. But there's some really good players from the LET have come over for this. It's actually quite a good field. I'm picking from that pool, and Alice Hewson is my pick.
Nice. Good one. All right, we're going to stick with women's golf for our final event, and this time the LPGA's Ford Championship presented by KCC. Rod, back to you.
Well, thank you very much, Jimmy. And sponsor watch, Ford speaks for itself. I could find nothing about KCC. Don't pretend that I spent weeks doing it, but the fact they're sponsoring an LPGA event, there's nothing about them on the LPGA website. It doesn't throw up anything in it. It's a lot of money to spend for invisibility, isn't it? That's a very poor use of sponsorship dollars on both sides there, I think. So that's just an interesting point that I wanted to make. Nothing to do with golf. It's not funny. There's nothing about it, but it's interesting. So
it is interesting.
Yeah. Seville Golf and Country Club opened in about 2000 in Arizona, about 50 minutes away from Phoenix, apparently. It's a housing development with plans for 3,000 houses. They might all be built now, given that it was opened in 2000. I read a review of it in 2000, which mentioned that. The finishing stretch gets the most attention here. 16 a drivable par 4, 17 a short island green par 3, and 18 a par 5 with water bisecting the fairway to make the second shot interesting. Formulaic would be an unfair assessment here, Logue, but it does feel a bit manipulated, sort of, doesn't it?
Golf course shaped golf course.
Kind of a Sawgrass. Sawgrass did this and it worked, so we'll kind of almost copy that.
I saw some visuals of this course, and it didn't look very good.
Well, it's desert golf, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I suspect there's two camps. You either don't like desert golf or you do, and I'm in the don't. Aesthetically, I just don't like the look of it. It never looks right to see a golf course in the desert. And for the anti-golf people in the world, it's cannon fodder, isn't it? It's all too easy. So, look, having said all that, not to suggest in any way that it's a bad course. Sorry?
Is there an island green? Is
Yes.
there an island green?
Oh, I should have mentioned that. There's an island green at the DLF as well.
So we've got 2 island greens in play this week.
Yeah. Well, is it an island though?
No, you're
Strictly
in
under Huggies
You're in the Huggy reel
thing. The DLF one, I'm sorry to say, it does have a land bridge going out to it. But
The only island green I can think of that I've ever seen in a tournament is the one in Thailand. Is it Amara Springs there with the boat that go? I know there's another one in Idaho. Is it Coeur d'Alene? It's got the green. They've actually
Coeur d'Alene.
They moved the green.
Yeah.
It's on cables and they changed the yardage of this thing floating in the middle. Pretty gimmicky. I'm not sure.
that's more of a boat green than an island green.
That's not your best work.
What? It's not an island. Islands
How did
attached.
Gilligan get stuck on the island via boat? You need a boat to get to an island.
Okay,
No,
2-1.
a green that moves around is not an island.
Okay.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's a
Yeah.
boat.
All right, I retract. I withdraw. Anyway, I think we were getting a tip, were we not? No, we're not up to that yet. Sorry, we're still going. Yeah, so look, it's desert golf. It looks like desert golf. But as you tend to get with the LPGA, we've been saying it all year, the field, no matter what the golf course is going to make this interesting, the LPGA puts on a great show every week. Who's who of some of the best? Lilia Vu, Celine Boutier, Minjee, Nelly Korda, Brooke Henderson, Lydia Ko. You can go on and on and on and on. Who wouldn't sign up to go and watch that just about every week? In all honesty.
Yep, great field.
Just extraordinary talent on display in massive numbers, which is fantastic. Now, we're only 2 weeks out from the Chevron, and weirdly, this is the last stroke play event before the Chevron, which I think probably explains why you get some of these bigger names turning up, because next week's a match play event. Why would you play a match play the week before a major?
Well, this happens every year. It's an exhausting event as well, right? They can play
brutal.
6 or 7 rounds, and it's almost punishment. It's a punish to win it.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That was the match play one where Shen Chan Feng withdrew from the 3rd, 4th playoff because she was just knackered and she had to play major this week.
Yeah. So it's an odd choice. You can sort of understand why scheduling against the Masters is difficult. What do you put on, if anything? So the choice is have no tournament or try and have a tournament with somewhat of a difference that doesn't require the same kind of sitting and watching as what you get with 72-hole stroke play. I guess you can just pick the matches you want to see. But it does seem odd. And I already had a look at the field for next week's match play. I was staggered by how many of the top players are actually teeing it up in there. I would have thought there's quite a few more would have skipped it. Anyway. Australians in the field, Minjee, as I said, Hannah Green, Grace Kim. Actually, we can just go with first names for LPGA players these days. Can we? Hannah, Sarah, Steph, Karis, Gabby, Robin Choi, and one that a lot of people probably won't know is Hira Naveed, player out of WA who got her card through the Q School, finished in the top 20. She gets her 2nd start on the LPGA. She played last week and missed the cut. Sue Thompson, who was a mentor's probably too strong a word, but a great supporter and friend of Hannah Green's, and Kirsten Rudgley as well over there at Mount Lawley. Big raps on Hira Naveed. She told me 3 or 4 years ago this girl can really play, so I'll be interested to see how that unfolds. Who do you reckon I tipped? Jimmy?
Oh, would it be someone starting with G and ending in Ruffles?
Yes, that's right. Gabby Ruffles, because... Russells, yeah, well, we're changing
Russells.
names. Gabby Russells and Bo Hustler. That'd be quite the hyphenated last name, wouldn't it? Russells, Hustler. Anyway, I think her greatest asset is not her golf swing, it's her attitude. She's such a genuine and serious competitor. She's going to do big things in the game. It's going to start at some point, and it might be this week. I might say that 100 times, but Gabby Ruffles she's a legitimate top 10 in the world player.
Okay. Logue.
Charlie Hull. Charlie Hull's world number 7.
Yes.
And she made it into the world top 10 back in August 23 when she had some good results. And she's been there ever since. I just didn't really appreciate that she's like really firmly established herself in that upper echelon. And unlike my other picks this week, she actually has got on some form. She's had 4 top 10s in her last 5 events without a win.
No hope.
She might be the form player in the world without a win at the moment. So anyway, Charlie Hull. There you go.
Okay. I'm going to go with Minjee Lee because when Hannah Green wins, Minjee typically wins.
It's a game of one-upmanship.
Just said it. Yeah, exactly. And on the LPGA, before we finish up the show, shout out to So-Yeon Yu, who's retiring from the LPGA. One of the best people in
Chevron.
golf and an outstanding talent. So she's going to play the Chevron as her last event, but was announced last week. So good on you, So-Yeon. Yeah. And she's put up with being friends with Mike Clayton for a long time, so she must be a good person.
I was just about to say, one of my highlights, we were doing the State of the Game podcast with Jeff Shackelford and Mike Clayton for a long time. We had So-Yeon on a couple of years as a guest, and what a delight. Thoughtful, articulate, intelligent, great sense of humour, self-deprecating, loves Australia, likes Vegemite, which is odd. But yeah, just you're right, a great ambassador for golf and humanity. So that'll be a bit sad to see her go, but good luck to her with whatever she goes with in the future.
Exactly. All right, that's going to do us. Rod, I wanted to get your opinion on how do you think Logue tipped against who we would have tipped for him?
Oh, good call. See, I didn't really give it much. I probably would have given him Ewan Ferguson at the Hero Indian Open, I think.
100%.
Yeah.
That would have been the first thing we would have done.
Yeah, PGA Tour, I didn't really look because I knew he was coming in, so I haven't even... We must keep doing this, Jimmy. We should still have the who would Logue pick no matter who he picks. Although it was dangerous
because
last
he would have
week.
been tipping...
Yeah. G.A. Shin was looking pretty good after 3 rounds there, Jimmy.
Yeah, she finished in the top 10. That was his top 10.
How would you have picked her for him anyway?
And he would have been tipping Anne Van Dam here, I can tell you. But anyway, Logue, what odd country are you going to go to next as your little farewell? What are you, Moldova, or you headed for Tuvalu? Or
I'm going to the Open. That's the only trip I've got planned for sure. But there's something will probably come up in April. But yeah,
you'll work something out. Yeah. All right.
Okay. You can, of course, follow along with all these events and so much more via the Golf Australia magazine website, golfaustralia.com.au, and make sure to get around our sibling podcast at the same place, which is called The Thing About Golf. Rod, next guest on The Thing About Golf off the top of your head?
Nick Doherty from Sky Sports Golf sat down with John Huggan, and then following that, Masters Week, very special lineup. Huggy's been busy in his contact book, and he confirmed 3 interview guests for Masters Week with me today. So we're going to have some special episodes released during Masters Week. I'll give you dangerous to say in case something goes wrong. Ben Crenshaw's one of them, which I'm really looking forward to.
Oh, wow.
Ben Crenshaw.
Okay. Wow.
Get Ben Crenshaw at Augusta National, and I think you get the very best of Ben Crenshaw in an interview because he will just be...
Now I'm terrified something's going to go wrong.
Yeah, so am I. Now that I've said it
now
publicly, I should edit that out, shouldn't I? Just in case.
But we'll blame Puggy if it goes wrong.
Yeah, good call.
It's fine.
Good call. Yeah, no, I really am looking forward to that. Huggy will give us some great stuff.
Thank you for listening to episode 56, and we will be back next week on Playing from the Tips.